All right. Shalom, shalom, Sister Deborah. Coming again on this devil platform with another message. I will say this is a day in which the Most High Ahaya has made, and I, Sister Deborah, shall and I will rest therein. Coming with a little something, really to cover the message yesterday. When I go past a certain amount of hours, I might not upload that video. I might take it down because I don't like to go way and beyond the hours, and certain amount of hours. But I will say this here. I want to wrap around what took place yesterday. We were talking about giving Ahaya your outer man or your inner man, your outer self or your inner self. Giving Ahaya your outer self or your inner self. And what that was really surrounding was understanding that there are two parts of you. And let me kind of give you an example of when I say get in the corner. The corner means surrendering and trusting in wholehearted, 100% wanting and desiring to trust in Ahaya, Yahuwah, okay? That's what getting in the corner means. I want to just trust in him. Lead not to my own understanding, but just trust in him. I want to go to him and be able to communicate with him, repent to him. I want to be able to hear his voice. I want to be able to see through his eyes that he suffered me to see, because it got to be something I can see, because he said they said they see but they cannot see. So he's saying that there are those that can see, but there are those who say they see but they really can't. So there is something to see. So therefore you want him in the corner to lean to him. You want to trust in him, in his faith, in his endurance, okay, in his spirit, in truth, in his ruach, in his teaching, See, and we want to receive all of that from man in the flesh, and then we want to kick him all the way to the curb. We should be tired. We should be fed up with man and their understanding, because the whole overall, Satan wasn't coming to give you himself. He was coming to kill, steal, and destroy you through man. You see? So he ain't gonna come to you in himself, in a spirit, to attack your lifestyle. That's why Yah didn't tell you he was your greatest enemy or your worstest enemy. He said self is your worstest enemy, because that's what Satan does. He wants to go through others to kill, steal, and destroy you. But once you get in that corner, you're saying to the Most High, Ahaya, look, Father, Yah, I don't want nothing from nobody but what you have to offer. Help me to be the best that you know that I can be. Because Father, Ahaya, I know not. Help me to walk upright before you. Help me to choose the things that pleases you. Help me to walk therein what pleases you. I know that I have sinned, but I know that you still pouring out grace and mercy. You care so much. This is what in the corner mean, y'all. Having a one-on-one relationship with him and not letting nobody outside that corner interfere with your relationship with your Father. Don't let nobody interfere with your relationship and the Most High Ahaya. That's what in the corner mean. So when Sister Deborah is talking about outer self and inner self, even though you get in this corner, it represents your inner self. That's what the corner represents. We ain't talking about your flesh getting in the corner. We're talking about your spirit getting in the corner. You get what I'm saying? Because you know your flesh can't serve the Most High Ahaya. So we ain't talking about your flesh. We're talking about your spirit get in the corner. Y'all don't want to deal with your flesh, and he ain't dealing with your flesh. You see? So therefore, the outer of you is your flesh. Sister Deborah, when she said get in that corner, she talking about your spirit. It's because your spirit is to get your flesh under the subjection. Why? Because your spirit is willing. When he said in the Garden of Eve, man has now become like one of us, knowing, having the knowledge of good and evil. How do they have the knowledge? Because he does good in the spirit realm, but evil in his flesh. Y'all will not let your flesh worship him. And throughout millions of years, I'm just saying, I'm not kind of, I'm not saying really million years, but many of years, thousands of years, we serve him with our flesh. We served him with our mouth. We serve him with our flesh mind, our flesh heart. We didn't understand that there's another entity, which is our inner self, that really what y'all is seeking for. Why? Because that's the only part that's going to stand before judgment and end up in eternal heaven or eternal lake of fire. So if we don't know we got a spirit and we focusing on a soul, we don't know if we're going to come. It's a form of confusing you so you won't know which one is going to stand before a higher in judgment. But the way Sister Deborah is saying it, she calling it a corner. Get in your spirit being and serve your Father from that end. It is, Sister Deborah is saying it as simple as the Most High Ahaya is speaking through me. That's how simple it is. Everybody has made the simple things that Yah has made so simple, so complex. And the outer part of you, how many? It's at least 5 verses in the Bible that tells you it fights up against your inner man. The outer man will fight up against the inner man all the way until you in your grave. When he said we're fighting not against flesh and blood, he letting us know, y'all, this thing is a spirit thing. They still don't get it. Wait a minute, you mean we fight not against flesh and blood? Because flesh and blood already have its eternal destiny, and that's back to the ground. But the spirit things in which we fight up against, and it's not our fight. It's really, let me take you out to the spiritual realm of truth. Really? There ain't even a war. There ain't no fight. Y'all done won it before he even created anything. He won it in heaven. He is the winner of all things. So therefore, even when we look at it as a war, that's why he said this ain't about you. This is something I predestined. I ordained this time. Get your tail out of your stinking flesh and stop thinking you're going to whoop somebody with your fleshly understanding, your fleshly wisdom, your fleshly knowledge, and your fleshly understanding. Stand down. Feed your own flesh, your worstest enemy. Why do you think he never said study to show others? Because he knows that your studying is going to require him to step in, to just be able to teach you. So you can't go running teaching people and then tell people not to turn to the Most High Ahaya, turn to you, because the only way they can get to him is through you. Come on, people. How long must he be in the midst of us? How long must he continue to inform us of things that are righteous? How long must he do that? Until he sum this thing up. That's the way it appears. Until he sum this thing up. So I say unto you, the message yesterday, it was a good one. And then we got off the topic, just like I said before. All it takes is one to come in the midst. Why, Sister Deborah, must you say that? Remember, y'all, Yeshua told us that all that I have is what the Father has given me. Okay? I say it like unto Yeshua. All that comes to the platform is what Yah has brought unto the message. Okay? But do not estimate every time I come live there's always going to be a Judah in the midst. Always. Let's say, for instance, you. Same thing with you. They're going to always, no matter what you go in the midst of and do. Say, for instance, you go out and feed the homeless. And you out there feeding the homeless. It's always going to be one that's going to do something and say something to try to deaden the good deed in which you are doing. The good works in which you are doing. Always going to be one. But you have to know how to not allow that one to steer you and control you. One came on live yesterday, and you can tell it was a babe. But I told one of the sisters that it was a male. It was a male. Yes, I knew it was a male because the way he was addressing situations. I sat and I told the sister, this is a male. I said 613 is a male. Then it waited for at least about 8 more chat messages, and then he came back in. Oh, I'm fully a female. I knew it was a male because it was talking like the camera. It was trying to control the platform. It was trying to, its whole purpose was to come on there and steer things out of the order. But what it did not know is this. The era in which you came, you got nothing accomplished. You said nothing but that which feed your flesh. You said nothing but that which is understand in your mind. Everything is what you feel. You didn't give nothing. Again, nothing that you give in spirit nor truth. You grab verses after verses, and every verse, not one of them led to spirit and truth. Not one verse that individual brought before us led to spirit and truth. This is the technique of the Hebrew Israelites movement and New Awakening religion. All of it is a form of religion because they're not going after the heart of your Father in heaven. They're not going after the spirit of your Father in heaven. They're going after their emotions, their feelings, their understanding of man interpretation. They don't understand the word out of the Bible is inspired. And they don't understand being inspired. That means you're going to have to be able to digest what is spirit in there. Why do you think it was said to rightly divide? What are you dividing if everything in there is true? It's telling you this thing going to have to be divided. But I don't want you teaching nobody. I don't want you teaching nobody. Because only one can divide it in you is the Most High, higher. He's the only one. So what happened is people don't want to wait for his spirit. What would have happened if the people, Mary and all the disciples, apostles, didn't wait on the day of Pentecost? They didn't want to wait. They want to make their own. They want to pull out a Torah. They would not have been able to receive the spirit of the Most High, higher, because they wanted to go on their own. But what they did, they trusted and they waited to be endowed by the Ruach, with the Ruach HaKodesh, and it was worth their wait. And it wasn't like they was waiting a long time. Why? Because when they came on one accord, hallelujah, when they came on one accord in the spirit, then that's when the Most High brought his spirit down. You see, people on these devil platforms, they ain't gonna come in one accord because they think they are the one. They think they are the message. The difference between me and hundreds and thousands, I ain't coming to get no glory. And I'm going to give you an example of what I'm talking about. I'm not here to get no glory. And like I told y'all, I ain't got no sense. I ain't giving this flesh no benefits, none whatsoever. After I know that its destiny is to go up against my Father that rests in me. So I ain't giving it no benefits. I'm not giving it no leeway to put my Father under so I can rise over. No! The stinking flesh gonna get its tail somewhere and sit down. It don't rule nothing. But greater is he that's in me, that's he that is in the world that rules this body. Because it's the excellent one. It's the perfect one. It's the good one. It's the great one. The faithful. The powerful one. So this flesh of mine, its ugly tail have to sit down. It don't have no authority over my Father that rests therein. So I'm going to tell y'all an example of how Sister Deborah wants to be able to leave off of YouTube and leave out of this world. Is when I hear people ready to continue the race. They already in the race, upholding spirit and truth. There was a sister on our live chat. She began to speak to the other entity, which it was a male. Like I said, I knew it was, and I knew it was coming from the camp or that mindset that men has taught it separate from a living a higher. One thing I will tell you that sister did, and I thank the Father. I thank the Father for what she did, because it shows me that there are those who out there really have some feelings for the Most High, higher. You know what she did? Let me tell you what she did. She went in on the individual in such a respectable way. And the way she was saying it was spirit and truth. Everything she was saying was lining up in spirit and truth. And just like I try to tell you all, as long as you speak spirit and truth, they cannot tie you up. But when they get to saying this verse, this verse, this verse, this verse, it's if y'all ain't bigger than no verses. It's if y'all has to bow down to the verses in which they quote, because that's their understanding. They haven't sat up under the Ruach and heard him teach them. That's their own flesh. They've been taught by flesh, the flesh of men and women. So therefore, they don't know what spirit and truth is like. They don't know how to wait like the Pentecostals, to tarry like the day of Pentecostals, like all the apostles did. They don't know how to wait for that. They so eager to rule and control the minds of the flesh. And they don't understand themselves. That there's another side. There's an inner and there's an outer self. What part are you trying to break? You're trying to break the outer part. That's what Satan was trying to do with Yeshua on the mountain. Identical. Coming in, trying to break the outer man to get to the spiritual man. And he couldn't. And Yeshua told him straight up from the floor, wait a minute, hold up. This flesh, it ain't it. Only that which proceed out of the mouth of the one that is spirit and truth. Only shall they survive with the word. He didn't say words. He said word. Words is more than just one. But he said word. You know why? Whenever it's making it one, it's making it Yahuwah. And that's what Yeshua was telling. And I say the same thing on that devil platform, on this devil platform on the live chat yesterday. And the sister was actually saying the same thing. I looked on her and I said, wait a minute. This lady is speaking spirit and truth, and her ground stood firm. And I like that, because it wasn't saying anything out of order. It was giving the Father the praise and the honor. It was turning everything toward him. It was making everything about him. And that's what she did. That's what spirit and truth is. Because anything outside of that, they want to tie you up with precepts, lying, little here. Just like that's the only thing the men can do. The reason why the women must shut up for them is because it will ruin their thunder. Y'all didn't know that, did you? Oh, yes. It will ruin their thunder. Then this individual said, my wife said, when are you going to put scriptures? Because this is what it's saying. The demonic spirit is saying, when are you going to put some scriptures to what you're saying? Because that's the only thing I can understand in my flesh. That's all it's saying. See, it's so ignorant, it don't understand. You're talking to somebody that's elect from the Most High, higher. I know who you are. I called you out from the beginning. You were a man. I knew it. I heard it. And I called it out. And then you went and say, I'm not a man, I'm a woman. I'm a woman. I knew that it was a man leading that conversation. You see? See how you can't fool everybody? He said, if it was so, it would fool my very elect, and I called you out in the beginning. But yet you came in like them camps, and not just like them camps, like them bull-headed Hebrew Israelites, and you ain't said nothing yet. I ain't heard nothing in damn one of your verses that had any spirit nor truth in it. None whatsoever. That's because you don't even know what a spirit is. You don't even know you got a spirit. And that's why. But I love the idea of the sister that got on there and she nailed it by saying the things that she was saying. The Father in heaven is greater than any words. Anything I can say, anything I can do. He's greater than all of that. So why not trust in the one that's greater and over everything? That's what I liked it about her. And she stuck to it. And they couldn't do anything. So then, if you notice, this is what happened. They started spitting out. He started spitting out more verses and more verses. So many verses, you never, I'm going to tell you something about the people in the live chat. They never caught on what was going on. That's why it's important that you stay at the altar and really seek the Most Higher, because they never caught on. What you mean, Sister Deborah? You can tell this was a person that had all their verses already down, and the way they was typing so fast they was putting 3 and 4 of them at one time. 3 and 4 next time. 3 and 4. How are you putting that in there on live chat? How do you have all those verses? Because you are tamed to follow precepts, line, and little here and a little there. And you don't know nothing about the verses in which you put in. You're quoting the verses that has no spirit and truth. Meaning you don't know the spirit behind the truth of the matter of what you read. Let me say that again. You don't know the spiritual that is behind the truth of the word that you're reading. You're just out in no man's land, way out in the ocean, trying to swim and can't see dry land. Dry land is the Most High, higher. You can't see it. You can't see it because you're too far out in the ocean. And that's where you're going to be. Because if you think you can come to little old Sister Deborah, the prophetess in the wilderness platform, not her platform, but her, how would I say, live chat, and you're going to come, and you ain't coming to teach. No, you ain't coming to teach. You ain't coming to reveal. You coming with the intent to think that you're going to hurt or cause one to be moved. And that's why I liked it. The sister, when she was saying everything you were saying, she would come in on and say it. She didn't have to precept you to death because it's in her to speak about her Savior, her higher. She wants to let you know he's the number one. He is this and he is that. I'm going to trust in him. I'm going to believe in him. I'm going to care on him. I'm going to give and gave him. I'm going to give him all of me. And you started running and saying, no, give it to the precepts. Give them to the line. Look here. It said here. And you're too ignorant to even know anything about spirit and truth. And that's why I say unto you all, no matter what goes on, If you can hang on like that lady did, not that lady, that sister that was on live chat, strictly speaks spirit and truth. It'll get them all lost. So the more they heard us speaking without trying to sling verses to rebut and battle with him, they brought more. He brought more and more verses that he had already in line, and he thought he was doing something. It made him feel good, but guess what? It made him look real foolish, because none of what he was saying had any spirit and truth. It was giving everything like the men think. The heathen's gonna only one get punished, and all of them gonna be saved. What you don't understand, if that's the case, why would there be any commandments he's trying to say you are to uphold? If he's gonna let every one of Israel bypass the commandment and be saved, what would be the sense to having instructions and direction, which is simply commandments and laws are simply instructions and direction? Why have those if you're gonna save every one of Israel? It don't make sense. What's the sense of playing that type of game? And that's such a foolish game. That is not a higher. He's gonna stay. And what's the sense of having the judgment? If no matter what Israel do, the tribe of Judah do, they can do whatever they wanna, they all gonna be saved. Come on now. These are very sick men out here. They have already lost it. But there's two sickness now, y'all. You can be destroyed here, but the worst thing to be is to be destroyed in your inner man. So you can be destroyed here, but don't be destroyed in your inner man. Because if you are destroyed in both, look for the lake of fire. Look for it. Bypass judgment and go on to the lake of fire. So I'm saying to you, be cautious. Be cautious with those who still enjoy teaching fleshly matters, the outer and not the inner. So Sister Deborah is arriving at my store where I'm going in and getting ready to open up. So I say unto you, I'll be back. But I do appreciate the Most High allowing a sister to speak spirit and truth. I like how she did it. She said it. She stuck with it all the way to the end. And I love that. And that was beautiful, because nothing was said that was out of order. It was giving her, Most High, a higher, all glory. And that's all Sister Deborah say to you all. You got to turn it. The spirit and truth turn everything to him. And that's what he want us to do. He want us to turn to him for any and everything. And they want us to turn to them. And she stuck with it. Okay? So Sister Deborah, said, I will be back. Shalom and shalom.